G'day everyone, welcome back to another video. In this one, we are going to be doing a quick run through of our complete setup. So we've been on the road for just over 12 months now. Thank you to everyone that responded to our Instagram and Facebook posts. Really appreciate all your feedback there. This was by far the most popular video that you guys wanted to see. All those other videos will be coming out as well soon, so keep an eye out for them. We're going to be trying to do a heap more of this type of content. After our first year on the road, we've got a heap of content ideas, a heap of things we want to share with you guys. But today, it's just going to be a quick run through of our complete setup. So there's a lot to cover here. I will just be touching on everything fairly quickly. If there's anything you want to know more information about, just leave us a comment below. There will be a few things here as well that I'm going to go into more detail in other videos coming up. As we get through them, I'll let you know. So overall, how's our setup gone? I've got to say, considering what we've done, how many kilometers we've done about 35,000 Ks now. I might even be coming up to 40,000 Ks now. A lot of that's been a lot of hard corrugated tracks and things like that. The complete setup has floored me. It's unbelievable how well it's done. Things have gone wrong. We have broken things. We have, things have happened, and we'll touch on that as we go through. But overall, it's been an impressive package. So we're towing with a 2017 Ranger, and we've got right behind it here is our Zone-based Caravan. This model isn't available anymore. Zone's now updated their model range, and the base has kind of been amalgamated or merged into a new range. But I think a lot of our Caravan and how it's gone is still relevant. It still shows you the build quality and things like that. So we're going to touch on that as we go through as well. I'm just going to point out a few products that I really like, things that have really impressed us. We're not necessarily sponsored by any of these people or anything. These are just products that I'm a fan of. So yeah, take that as a genuine opinion, and everything that I say is my opinion. I'm not paid to say anything, and I'm not asked not to say anything. So I just thought I'd get that out of the way as well. All right, let's rip in and run through. We're going to run through quickly the Ranger, then the van on the outside, and then we'll jump inside the van and run through that as well. All right, guys, let's rip into it. We're going to make this one as quick and punchy as we can. Really appreciate you sticking around watching this one to the end. And as I said, leave us a comment, let us know what you think. All right, so kicking things off is our 2017 Ford Ranger. This is the Wild Track. It's the 3.2 litre 5-cylinder diesel with the 6-speed auto, obviously. This thing has been unreal. I can't believe how well it's held up. We've had very few or almost no problems. The only problem we've had was a dodgy battery and a weird electrical fault that caused, but that's all been resolved. It kind of resolved itself once the new battery went in. We didn't really do too much else. I am going to do a full run through of the Ranger in an upcoming video, so this won't touch on everything that we've done to the Ranger and exactly the whole setup, but just some of the highlights are, I definitely like having the bull bar up on front. Driving lights, probably wouldn't worry about that. We hardly ever use them. Things that work really well though, if you are going to tow for long periods or full time, get yourself a decent set of towing mirrors. These are the Clearview ones. They're called the Next Gens. Can't really fault them. The lenses, the only problem I've had with them, the lenses did get a bit loose. Clearview sent me a video, very easy to fix that, so that's easy to rectify. They are a bit clunky and agricultural, but they absolutely do the job. And yeah, like the rest of the rig, they've been well used. Make sure you got yourself a UHF. We use a GME, but they're all pretty good these days. We use black duck seat covers. Get yourself a decent set of seat covers, because especially if you've got kids, they get trashed. They get a real workout, especially when you start hitting some of those dry and dusty areas. For safety as well, I really recommend getting a PLB. It's like a little EPIRB if you don't know about them. Yeah, just for peace of mind and safety, I wouldn't leave home without that. Recovery gear as well. We've used the Max Tracks, are the only things we've used as far as recovery gear goes. For self-recovery, get yourself a shovel. I use the shovel all the time. It's really handy. So something that we don't have is we don't have a winch either. So yeah, we mainly for weight and for cost. I mean, if you've watched our weights video, if you haven't seen that, go back and watch that after this one. I'll leave a link to that below. But yeah, obviously when we set up this whole rig for the trip, we had to keep in mind a weight budget and obviously a financial budget as well. And so the winch missed out on that. We don't have a dual battery system or anything like that either. But like I said, I'll go through all that in more detail when we do a Ranger video. All right, let's jump down the back and check out a few more things down there. So we've kept the standard Wild Track Ranger tub set up on the back. Again, just trying to keep weight and cost down. But what's worked really well is having these racks over the top. It just gives you a bit more versatility for most of the trip. As you would have seen in our videos, had swags up on there. We've dropped those off now, but yeah, it just gives us a bit of extra storage space, and it works really, really well. I did have the UHF antenna mounted behind here as well on a bracket that I made myself. That actually broke recently, that bracket, but I did really like having the UHF there, and I'm going to build a new bracket to remount it in the same spot because it works really well, keeps it off the bull bar and keeps it tucked out of the way from damage, but also it just isn't annoying you bouncing around there on the bull bar. We're running completely standard suspension on the Ranger, no power upgrades or anything fancy like that. And we're running the BF Goodrich all-terrain tyres. Again, something that I just can't recommend highly enough is get yourself a decent set of all-terrain tyres if you're touring like us. We run the same ones on here and on the van, and we have not had a single puncture. We have experienced some pretty high tyre wear, particularly in the rear. Obviously, the rear axle of your tow rig is doing a lot of work. It's doing all your drive, obviously, and it's towing a 6-ton combination, so it's working hard. We did notice we've had to keep right on top of our tyre rotation because the rears do cop quite a workout. And we'll touch a bit more on the tyre wear on the van when we get down there. But overall, can't fault the Ranger. Really simple, budget, low weight setup. And yeah, it just works really well. Everything we need, nothing we don't. But as I said, keep an eye out for our full walk around of the Ranger video coming soon. Righto, so up front here, yeah, everything just works. So I'll just quickly run through what we've added and what we've changed. The main thing really is the Stone Stomper, the addition of the Stone Stomper. I get a lot of questions about this. I can't recommend these highly enough. Again, not associated with Stone Stomper at all, but these things are phenomenal. Anyone you talk to that's traveling around that has one completely agrees. You can't beat them. And for the cost and how quick and easy they are to install and to use, yeah, I can't rate them highly enough. They're fantastic. DO35 hitch works perfectly, works really well. Everything up here works really well. We've had no problems with the jack stand or anything like that. Have heard of other people having troubles with those, but we've had absolutely no issues. We still retained the factory stone guard on there as well, and the factory stone flaps. I get a lot of questions about that as well. Is it overkill? Do you really need it? I don't know, maybe not, but at the end of the day, I paid a lot of money for this Caravan, and if I can keep as many stones off the front of it as I can, and from ricocheting back into the car, I may as well. It doesn't really get in the way, or it doesn't cause any issues, and it's relatively light, so yeah, look, for the trip we did, I don't regret taking it and leaving it on there. Jerry cans, they've been super handy, love having them. They're just really versatile, just give you that extra flexibility with water and running into town and topping up and things like that. The 4.5 kilo gas bottles, you get a few people asking about that. They're plenty big enough. We probably only refill one of them every 6 to 8 weeks, something like that. 9 kilo cylinders would be absolute overkill for what we have. Yeah, we only cook with the Weber, rarely cook inside. We've been traveling in the warm climate, so we've hardly used the heater and the water, even the hot water system, yeah, it just doesn't use enough gas to warrant needing 9 kilo cylinders. Where the drawbar tap is, the freshwater tap, it's tucked up under sort of basically where the barbecue slide is. It's really quite tricky to access. But this idea is one that I stole from Dean Payne, so Dean and Shay, if you're watching, thanks for that. But yeah, just running a short hose to a trigger nozzle that's always hooked up. That just works really well. It means I've got some water to wash hands or rinse things down or whatever I need outside. And obviously, because we don't have the outdoor kitchen, which I'll touch on more in a minute, we don't have an outside sink, so this is our main outdoor water source. So yeah, that works really well, and it solves the problem. I just leave that on all the time while we're at camp. So the front toolbox we use is basically our garage space or our dirty gear. We've travelled with the Weber in here on the slide. This works really, really well. I've absolutely loved the Weber. We use this all the time. This is the middle size one, the Q2200 I think is the middle size premium one. We have had a problem recently with the toolbox leaking, which we did have an issue when we first got it, and then it hasn't leaked since. Granted, we haven't had a lot of rain either, but with the recent wet weather over here in the eastern states, we have had it leak again, something that Zone's going to look at for us. But apart from that, this all works well. Firewood carrier on top, hardly ever use it, but it's handy to have it there, and it's a good little storage area for extra gear. Rightio, so the awning is on our van is an Aussie Traveller awning. There's not a lot I can say about it. Look, it's not great, to be honest. I think they're a pretty clunky item. They're just, I don't know, it's a lot of metal on metal. They can be get jammed up easily, especially when it gets dusty, and they can be a bit frustrating. The powder coating on them is not great. It's chipping off in a few spots on the arms and things like that. I mean, it does the job, and honestly, I don't think there's really a better alternative on the market. I've used the Dometic one as well on a previous Caravan that we borrowed, and I don't think it was any better. I just don't think there's a better option on the market, so it is just sort of suck it up and use it. But if you're out there and you want to design a better Caravan awning, hit me up and I'll give you some tips. But yeah, I mean, they're fine, but nothing fantastic. We don't carry any extra side walls or front walls or anything for it either. We try and keep our outside setup really, really basic. So we basically have a camp chair each, and we have a ground sheet that we put down on the ground, and we only use that every now and then as well. So yeah, we don't carry any outdoor tables or anything or any extra bits and pieces. It just adds way more to your setup and pack up, and unnecessary in our opinion. We haven't missed them. Yeah, we just think it's overkill. All right, outdoor cooking. So obviously we use the Weber a fair bit, if you just want to follow with me, Liz. So outdoor cooking, obviously we've got the Weber. We opted not to have an outdoor kitchen. It was a big decision for us at the time because we really love cooking outdoors, and before this van we had a camper trailer, had an outdoor kitchen, we loved it. But we opted not to, mainly for the weight, the space that took up, and the cost, and we don't regret it at all. In fact, I think it was one of the best decisions we made. This is our outdoor cooking, so we love the outdoor table. We've got the induction plate here and the Thermomix. We use them all the time when we're cooking outside. All we really miss from not having an outdoor kitchen is the sink, and to be honest, I think it's fine just to do the dishes inside. It's effective, and all this stuff can be used inside or out. We can choose to use electric to cook or gas. It just gives us maximum versatility, minimum cost, and yeah, it just works well. So one of the other tough calls we had to make when we were speccing out the van was the spare tyres, 1 or 2. We stuck with 1. Best decision we made. We spent the money and the effort instead matching all the wheels and tyres to the Ranger, so that we have essentially 10 wheels and tyres that are virtually identical, so that we can interchange them. That was a way better way of keeping weight down mainly, but just unnecessary stuff that you're carrying again. And as I said, we've had no punctures or anything, so we've never even needed a spare. This wheel bag, spare wheel cover, flawless. It's from PM Canvas. Nathan there built that for us. I'll leave a link below if you want to go and hit him up to get you to make one. He makes them custom for each application. This keeps 2 bins in it, so we've got our normal rubbish and our recycling, keeps our electrical cord, our sullage hose and our fresh water hose all in there. It's great, keeps all the dirty crap in one spot. Can't beat it. Get yourself a decent spare wheel bag. They're fantastic, and you need somewhere to put your rubbish, especially if you're doing long periods off grid, and sometimes bins are few and far between. So yeah, definitely recommend that. Up underneath, we've got the recovery points on the back of the van as well. Never used them, never needed them. I would still get them though. Love having them there. It's just that extra peace of mind if we ever do get a bit too far into something that we probably shouldn't have. Hopefully someone can give us a yank or give us a pull and get us out of there. So when we ordered the van, we ordered it with 3 fresh water tanks. Awesome decision. Definitely use those all the time and love having that water capacity. In fact, we're even considering at the moment looking at getting rid of the 100-litre grey water tank, converting that to a fresh and just putting a small grey water tank in, because you hardly ever use your grey water tank, and we could pretty well live without it. But just having a small, like 20 or 30 litre one would get us out of the trouble in any situations where we need that. Outdoor shower though, that's probably something I wouldn't get again. We hardly use it. It is handy every now and then, but partly because of where it's mounted, it's just on the off side. We don't really use this side of the van for much. I thought we'd use it heaps more and it'd be great, but to date anyway, we haven't really used it much, so that's probably one I'd cut out if I wanted to save a bit of coin. Having that hose on the drawbar on the other side basically gives us fresh water or a shower to rinse things down. The only advantage to this is it's got hot water. I'd rather just have hot water plumbed to the other side if I was to do things again, but yeah, anyway, you live and you learn. So overall, we're extremely impressed with the Zone. Everything outside in particular, the build quality is insane. We've never had any sort of failure, anything go wrong on the exterior. The Cruise Master suspension, can't fault that. Absolutely love the airbags too. We definitely do that again. Yeah, just absolutely love everything there. After about 15,000 Ks in the van, we did notice some uneven tyre wear on the van. We ended up getting that looked at while we were over in WA and got a wheel alignment done. Yeah, look, that changed the game. If you've got a van with independent suspension of any brand van, any brand of suspension, I'd do your first 5,000 Ks in it and then go and get yourself a wheel alignment, because when they build the vans, yeah, obviously everything moves and beds in a little bit, and often the alignments from factory aren't perfect. Get someone to do a proper laser wheel alignment on your van. You'll save a heap of money in tyres. I think it was about $300, so for the sake of cost of less than 1 tyre, yeah, it'll pay for itself really, really quickly. And it just, yeah, knowing that everything in there is sitting pretty is well worth it in my opinion. Not long after we bought the van, we put some PPF, paint protective film, on all of our windows. Because the windows are Perspex, we were worried about branches and things dragging down the side of the van and scratching the windows, and once the Perspex is scratched, there's really not a lot you can do to restore it. So it's just like a heavy duty, I guess like a window tint, but it's completely clear and visible. You can't even tell that it's there. And yeah, it's done an outstanding job. We're going to do a full video on that soon of the install and everything we're doing on that, and how well it's held up. But something to consider, especially with these windows that stick out a little bit they're a little bit proud of the side of the van. Yeah, so they're pretty susceptible to damage. Something I'd highly recommend. So yeah, keep an eye out for that video coming out soon. The only gripe, apart from the awning on the outside of the van, that I don't like is the antennas, especially the TV antenna, the King, I think it's called, TV antenna. We've never used it. Apparently they're pretty rubbish anyway when you do go to use them for a TV antenna, and the design of them just means they're a massive tree hook. It's caught us out a heap of times. I can't believe we haven't snapped it off yet. And right next to it, the little FM antenna as well. We don't use FM radio, so I'd love to delete both of those. Something I might do. Also something I'm likely to never get around to doing. Alrighty, moving inside. As you'd expect, we've had absolutely no dust ingress, absolutely no water ingress. We've never had a problem with the electrical system, with the plumbing, no structural failures. All the cabinetry is outstanding. I think the way that Zone build their cabinetry overall is really, really good. There have been a few problems with that though. I'll touch on those in a minute. But yeah, overall, everything in here has worked really well. We found ample storage, livability in the van is fantastic. We still, after 12 months, walk into this van or wake up in the morning and are just stoked with the decision we made and the van we bought. If we were to buy another van tomorrow, it'd be the exact same van, without a doubt. It suits us and our needs perfectly. With all that said though, there have been a few issues. We have had, and you would have seen this if you've been watching our vlogs and our travel videos, there have been things that just rattle loose occasionally. We've had screws come out of the table. We've had a screw come out of the blind, this blind assembly before. I mean, we've broken a Sirocco fan, for heaven's sake. I mean, I don't know anyone else who's managed to do that. The fan, the rear fan in the shower has also snapped with a little bit of plastic on there. Look, there's just, yeah, the taps rattled loose. We've had the sink plug rattle loose. But I think that just highlights how much vibration goes through a caravan like this when you're off-road. So look, overall, yes, there's some improvements that could be made, but I think for what you pay for these vans, yes, they're expensive, but I still think they're incredible value for what you get for a dust-proof, lightweight, composite van that is capable of doing the things that this van is capable of doing. I think it's a fantastic product. Yeah, I would recommend them to my friends, to my family, absolutely. I think, yeah, they're an incredible piece of machinery, but you just got to accept that it's not a perfect world, not everything's perfect, and yeah, there's going to be things that go wrong occasionally. So let's have a look at a couple of things that go wrong, but keeping in mind the amount of times that we've done a rough track or done some hard driving and we've gotten in this van and been amazed that there's nothing broken. The only problem we've really had, or there's been two things that have gone wrong. Everything on the overheads and everything like that, structurally, they're incredible. This door that goes under the sink, we did have problems with it where it would, on a rough road, the catch would let go and the door would swing open. Zone came up with a solution to that, which just meant fitting an extra catch to that. So now that when you close it, it locks shut, and that works perfectly. We've never had a problem with it since. The slide out pantry at the end here, we did break a catch on that. The plastic snapped on that only relatively recently. Yeah, I mean, it happens, I guess. I had a spare, so I replaced that. We do have a lot of weight in that pantry drawer, so we're rethinking maybe we've overloaded it. And that thing, I mean, the roads we've done, it's done some hard work. But apart from that, everything else is solid. I think, yeah, overall it's really, really good. So as far as appliances and that go, the stovetop rattles loose. All that holds it to the bench top, the way that the stovetop's designed, is that it just has 4 screws that clamp it to the bench top. Those screws rattle loose, and it has damaged the seal that Zone are going to replace. The Bushman fridge, yeah, it's been pretty good, all things considered. We have had a couple of things break. Just the plastic inside broke, but I can't fault Bushman's customer service. We got in touch with Zone as soon as we had issues, and Bushman had new replacement parts out to us instantly. So yeah, congratulations to Bushman on that. You would have remembered we also broke the latch on it at one point, but yeah, again, without questions asked, Zone and Bushman were straight onto it. And Zone, I've got to say, with anything that's gone wrong with the van, yeah, outstanding service. And I think that's part of what you pay for when you buy a premium van. is that customer service. Every time we've been on the phone to them that we've had any sort of issue, they've just, we're more than happy to sort it out at their cost. So it's what you'd expect, and it's how it should be, but I guess it's just not always what you get. So yeah, I mean, I'm not downplaying the things that have gone wrong. Like I said, there's been screws in that rattle loose. I just don't think it's major, and I don't think it's disproportionate to what we've done with the van, and for what we paid for the van, and for what our expectations were. I think it's excelled. So probably our number one thing we get asked about is our electrical system. Just to quickly touch on it, if you haven't watched our walk around video, which you probably should go back and watch if you haven't, but we're running a 400 amp hours of lithium in two 200 amp batteries. We've got 720 watts of solar on the roof in 4 panels. We've got a 40 amp DC charger and a separate solar controller charger as well. The system is adequate for what we do. We're very rarely scratching around for power. It just allows us to live basically as you would in a home. We very rarely have to watch our power usage. I will be doing an entire video reviewing that and talking about electrical system and living off grid and everything like that in an upcoming video soon, so keep an eye out for that. But overall, look, the system is great. Yeah, love it. It's a great system, and it's flawless. I've never had to do anything with it. It's just monitor it and just use it. It's great. As far as options that we picked for the interior of the van, really rate the upgraded mattress we got. I think it's something you use every day, sleeping in that thing. So yeah, well worth spending the money on that. We love the bed in this. Air conditioning is something we added as well. We don't use it often, but the times that we have used it, you really want it. It means it's stinking hot. So yeah, it's been good. It's been fine. It's a bit noisy, the Truma. Ours is the Truma Aventa. It's a little bit noisy, but it's fine. We don't run it for very long periods of time or anything like that, so it's absolutely fine. The Truma gas hot water and gas heating system, that's standard. It's been fine. It does take a little while to heat up because it's a tank style, but it's just you work around that. You live with it. You just plan ahead. But it's faultless. Never had any issues with that. And the heating system for it, we haven't had to use it very often, but it's extremely effective when we do. We don't leave it on for long at all, and it warms the van up really, really quickly. So yeah, really happy with that. If you do have the Truma combi unit, the same as ours, the Truma, I think that's what it's called, Truma, the combi gas electric hot water and heater, is when you're heating your hot water, put it on the boost function. I think it was Sticks and Shay gave us this tip, so thanks for that, Sticks. Run on the boost function, then it automatically turns itself off once it's heated the water. So on gas, run it on boost and it'll switch itself off, and you won't accidentally leave it on like I do sometimes and burn a heap of gas keeping the hot water hot when you don't need it. All right, back here, as far as options go, Sirocco fans in each of the kids' bed, that's a no-brainer in my opinion. Absolutely get as many fans as you can in your van. 2 for us on our bed and 2 in here. It works really well. These bunks, they're bunks. The kids sleep in them. The best thing about them, though, is they're really long. I think these are 2 meters long or something like that. So they're big enough that I can lie down in there. I'm 5'11", so we've actually had my mum come and stay with us during the year, and it's really good to be able to have an adult sleep in there. The boys just top and tail in the other one. So that's been really cool to be able to have that as a bit of a spare room. And as you would have seen in our walk around video, we still use these totes, although I think they've been replaced since then, but totes on the bed for the kids' toys works really well as well. And it just gives you that extra storage. Having the vanity at the back of the van, again, you would have heard us touch on in our walk around when we got the van. We weren't too sure about that. Love it. It actually works really, really well. Being able to have this area to get ready and clean your teeth and do Liz to spend hours doing your hair and makeup and all those sorts of things and not be taking up the bathroom space. It works really well, especially with the family. It means, we can have someone in the shower, someone cleaning their teeth, all those sorts of things. Yeah, love it. Works really well. We opted no washing machine as well. That's where that would go. Still don't regret that decision. Yes, it would come in handy sometimes, but the trade-off of cost, weight, the amount of water that they use, the only time we would need one is when we've been off grid for a long period of time, and in general in those situations we don't have the water to spare, so we wouldn't use it anyway. Downside to that is, yes, you're sometimes looking for a laundromat or staying in a caravan park when you wouldn't otherwise, but we think it's well worth the trade-off. If we were going again, we'd still go no washing machine, but that's what works for us anyway. All right, let's go into here, have a quick look in the toilet. Let's go in the bathroom and then, we'll wrap this thing up. All right, so we've just been running with these fusion locks. These are those suction cup ones. These work really well. There's towel hooks on here. We also run the baskets in the shower. You would have heard me talk about before. We broke one, so we had the long basket. We actually snapped the 2 clips on that, probably because we overloaded it with too much stuff on rough roads, but we've now replaced that with 2 shorter ones. So it's now for the same amount of gear, it's got 4 hooks, and it means we've tucked them around the corner of the shower, which works way better. So yeah, if you're thinking about getting them, maybe think about getting the 2 smaller ones, because if you've got your shampoo bottles and things in there, like that in there, they can get quite heavy. One option we did pick was a composting toilet. Heaps of people, this has got to be one of the main things people reach out to us about. Yes, it's good. Yes, it's worth it. I can't even believe people still put cassette toilets into caravans. The amount of times that you've got to empty a cassette toilet, family like ours is probably 2 to 4 days that you're emptying a cassette. This one, we're doing it, well, I've emptied it, in a year we emptied it 4 times, the solids compartment. Yes, the little pee bottle you've got to tip out every couple of days, but that is a much less arduous task than finding a dump point for your cassette toilet. If you're watching our Gib series at the moment, there is no dump point on the Gib, so you got to do that. You got to figure out something anyway. But yeah, composting toilet, love it. It's flawless. If you've got one or you're thinking about getting one, when you put your medium in to start with, your composting material, dry, as dry as you can. It really only just needs to be slightly moist, because if you make it too wet, it causes all sorts of dramas. But we've only made that mistake once. But yeah, learn from our mistake. That's our hot tip with your composter. Heaps of people are hitting us up to do a video about the composting toilet. I don't know. We don't really want to talk to you about that sort of stuff. All you need to know is they're good. You should get one. They work really well. Don't do a YouTube search for a composting toilet review. Yeah, I've got better things to do with my time. All right, let's wrap this up.
Got other shit to do.
So overall, everything, we've got other shit to do, Liz says. Oh dear. Yeah, so look, overall, these things, I've got to say.
Oh yeah.
These are stuck on with 3M picture hanging there, like the Velcro things. Mate, these have been outstanding. I cannot believe that and the one at the back there have held up through absolutely everything. Haven't even gone close to coming off. Haven't shown any signs. So yeah, that's outstanding. Same as our pot plant. Yeah, and there's one in the bathroom as well. But yeah, they've been outstanding. Anyway, overall, hopefully that really helps you guys out just to understand a little bit of how we do things and how everything's gone for our 12-month trip. This isn't us stopping traveling, by the way. We are having a pause at the moment. Not that you would know it on YouTube, because we've got a lot of content to get through. So we're just spending some time at the moment planning our next big adventure. We've got heaps planned coming up. So yeah, stick around for that. If you're not already, why not subscribe, like this video if you enjoyed it. Leave me a comment below if you want to know any more detail about anything. We'll be doing electrical videos soon. We'll be doing a range of walk around videos soon. We'll be doing a whole heap of different videos, just sort of, with everything that we've learnt as well as we've been traveling around. So keep an eye out for them. Stay subscribed, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of those videos. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on Sunday for our next edition of the Gib River Road. Can't wait to show that to you. All right, that's a wrap. Let's get out of here. We're done.